In Module 4, we're going to look at the different ways that Darwin has been constructed by scientists, historians, philosophers, and other people. For Darwin polarizes people. For some, he's some kind of secular saint. For others, he's a sinner on the side of the devil. In my spare time, when I'm not writing Darwinism lectures or thinking about minds and madness, I like to get down a bit, get a bit funky.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
That was gangster rap. This, however, is not.
Whoever is led to believe that species are mutable will do good service by conscientiously expressing his conviction. For only thus can the load of prejudice by which this subject is overwhelmed be removed.
So what you know about natural selection? Go ahead and ask a question and see where the answer gets you. Try being passive aggressive and try smashing heads in and see which tactic brings your plans to fruition. If you have an explanation in mind, then you're wasting your time, cause the best watchmaker is blind. Takes a certain base kind of impatient mind to explain away nature with intelligent design. But the truth shall set you free from those useless superstitious beliefs in a literal Adam and Eve and that Edenic myth, cause the family tree is showing some genetic drift. Take it from this bald-headed non-celibate monk with the lyrical equivalent of an elephant's trunk. It's time to elevate your mind state and celebrate your kinship with the primates. The weak and the strong, who got it going on, who lived in the dark for so long. The weak and
I think that's enough of that. I would say that Barbara Brinkman was one of the principal cheerleaders for Darwin and Darwinism. At the same time, the point of view that he puts forward is somewhat crude. I find it quite extraordinary, for example, that Michel Foucault, who one couldn't exactly describe as an enemy of Darwinism, or even an enemy of Darwin, should be included in a list with a bunch of creationists who deny Darwin's theories. There is no doubt, however, that Darwinism has brought many triumphs. We will see that to some degree you could claim that it was a new scientific revolution, that it was a creator of a new paradigm. We will also see that it could be described as a victory for materialism, for theories that explain the universe through natural processes rather than relying upon the metaphysics of an intervention from a god or from another supernatural force. And as Richard Dawkins said in one of his many interviews, one of the great things about Darwinism is that it's able to explain everything about life, or at least it claims to be able to explain a huge amount about human nature and our place in the cosmos. Richard Dawkins, like Barbara Brinkman, is another cheerleader, not just for Darwinism, but for atheism as well. Here we see him pictured with a friend, promoting the idea that there's probably no God, so now stop worrying and enjoy your life. These were posters that were put on buses that drove around London, trying to persuade people that it was fine to be an atheist. Don't worry, all the existential problems of life are solved once you realise that there's no God and the world is controlled, as it were, by the processes of natural selection. However, many charges have been laid against Darwinism, and we'll be exploring these charges in some detail. For example, his theory of natural selection is used by many people to reinforce racial stereotypes, the kind of racial stereotypes that ended up with what happened in places like Belsen and the other concentration camps during the Second World War. It's also been charged with promoting colonialism, promoting the idea that the white race was superior to other races and therefore had the right and the duty to take over large tracts of the world and to rule them. It's also been charged, accused of strengthening patriarchy, of becoming an ideology that gives a scientific justification for the dominion of men over women. And in its earliest incarnation, it has been accused of allowing, of promoting unbridled capitalism through the idea of survival of the fittest, which was Herbert Spencer's term that Darwin later adopted. The notion being that within capitalism, the fittest survive. So anything goes. You can allow the fat cats to become fatter and fatter at the expense of other people. And Darwinism has been accused of being integral to that process. And in the process as well of killing God, Darwinism has been accused of undermining morality, and in undermining morality, creating a situation where the Nazis can rise to power with a philosophy that's partly underpinned by some of the ideas that have been put forward first by Darwin. The idea is that without Darwinism, we would not have ended up at camps like Belsen. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in any of these charges, but it's important that we put it out there to see what Darwin and Darwinism's critics have said. And so endeth the fourth module.